Good morning everyone. I welcome you all for the second session of design of RC structural element. And in this session I am going to start module 1, and that is introduction to working stress and limit state design. And in module 1 I am going to start the first topic, and that is called as design philosophies or design methods. See, in order to design any reinforced concrete structural element, that means if you want to design a slab, beam, column, footing and slab, you have to choose one analysis and design method which ensure the safety and durable of the structure, and also it satisfies the serviceability criteria. So that type of method we have to select, and we have to do the design of RC structural element. And here we have three design methods. The first one is working stress method, the second one is ultimate load method, the third one is limit state method. So totally there are three design methods, and today we have to decide which method is a suitable method in order to design the RC structural element. And that method should ensure the safety, durability, and also it should satisfy the serviceability criteria. That is the most important. So in order to know which method is the suitable method, we have to understand all the features of these three methods, and also we have to discuss what is the merits and demerits of these three methods. So let us start the first method, and that is called as working stress method. See, working stress method is also called as modular ratio method, and this working stress method is based on classical elastic theory. See, classical elastic theory means in this working stress method, whatever the material is used, we are going to assume all the material is an elastic material. But practically it is not true. Concrete and the steel bar, what we are going to use in the reinforced concrete, those two material will possess elastic behavior and also the plastic behavior. But in the working stress method, we are going to assume that the concrete and the steel bar is an elastic material only. The behavior of both the material will possess only elastic behavior. Right? So next. So in the working stress method, in order to explain the working stress method, I am going to consider one typical stress strain graph, and this stress strain graph will represent the behavior of the concrete when it is loaded. See, stress is related to the applied load and strain is related to the corresponding deflection. That means load versus deflection graph, stress versus strain graph, both are same. And this graph is representing the stress strain curve of the concrete when it is loaded. See, initially this graph from point A to point B, it is completely linear. Linear is nothing but from point A to point B, the stress is directly proportional to the strain. And from point A to point B, we are going to call it as the elastic zone. And from point B to point C, the curve, the graph or the shape is in the curve shape. That is, from point B to point C, the stress is not directly proportional to the strain. And this particular zone is called as the plastic zone. Right? So in this working stress method, and also one more point, from point A to point B, in the elastic zone, at any point of time, if you remove the applied load on the material, the material will regain its original shape and size because it is in the elastic zone. From point B to point C, at any point of time, if you remove the applied load on the material will not regain its original shape and size because it is already entered into the plastic zone, and any sort of deformation in the plastic zone will be a permanent deformation. right? Next. So in the working stress method, we are going to consider the material strength in the elastic zone only, and we are going to ignore the strength of the material in the plastic zone. This is the most important feature of working stress method. See, I repeat, in the working stress method, we are going to consider the strength of material in the elastic zone, and we are going to ignore the strength of material in the plastic zone. If we consider the complete strength of the material, that is complete strength of the concrete, it is from point A to point C. This is the complete strength of the concrete, but in the working stress method, we are going to consider a part of strength in the elastic zone, and we are going to ignore the huge strength which is there in the plastic zone, right? That means in the working stress method, we are going to underestimate the strength of material because we are not considering the complete strength, right? So we are underestimating the strength of material in the working stress method, which leads to the uneconomical design. Because we are not considering the complete strength, therefore it leads to the uneconomical design. That means using working stress method, if you design the structural component, the dimension of the structural component will be large. The amount of concrete and the amount of steel bar what we are going to use will be also more. So that leads to the uneconomical design, right? So in the working stress method, as we are underestimating the strength of material, as we are using the strength of material only in the elastic zone, that means in working stress method, we are decreasing the strength of material. And that decreased strength is used for the design purpose. That is most important, right? Because we are decreasing the strength of material in the working stress method, we ensure the safety of the structure, and also it will satisfy the serviceability criteria. See, at any point of time, the structure will not going to fail. If you are going to use the working stress method and if you do the design, that particular structural component will never fail, because we are underestimating the strength of material. We have decreased the strength of material in the working stress method. And also the serviceability criteria will also satisfy. Throughout the lifespan, the structural component can carry the load which is coming on it effectively without undergoing any deflection and cracking. That is the meaning of serviceability. Therefore, in the working stress method, it ensures the safety, and also it satisfies the serviceability criteria. Next. So lastly, in the working stress method, we are going to use a factor of safety, and that factor of safety is called as material safety factor, because we are decreasing the strength of material. That is the reason why the factor of safety is called as material safety factor, right? So if you want the factor of safety here, that is failure stress by permissible stress, we will get the factor of safety, and here the factor of safety is around 2 to 3. So these are the features of working stress method, and we come to know that the demerit, the disadvantage of working stress method is we are going to underestimate the strength of material, which leads to the uneconomical design, and this is the disadvantage of working stress method, right? Okay, next. Let us move to the second one, that is ultimate load method. That is, second one is the ultimate load method. See, ultimate load method is also called as load factored method. So in the ultimate load method, we are going to use the ultimate load for the design of RC structural element. And the ultimate load is obtained by enhancing the service load with some factor, and that factor is called as the load factor. See, if you want the ultimate load, then you have to enhance the service load. by multiplying a load factor, and this ultimate load is used for the design purpose. That means in the ultimate load method we are going to increase the load which is coming on the structure, and that increased load, that ultimate load is used for the design. But in the working stress method we will be decreasing the strength of material, and that decreased strength will be used for the design. That is the difference between the working stress method and the ultimate load method. See, in the ultimate load method we are going to use the complete strength of the material up to the failure point, and this is the very important feature of ultimate load method. That means we are going to use the strength of the material in the elastic zone and also the strength of the material in the plastic zone. That means we are going to use the complete strength of the material up to the failure point, and that is the important feature of ultimate load method. Because we are using the complete strength of the material, the ultimate load method will give an economical design. Here in the ultimate load method it will provide an economical design only because we are using the complete strength of the material. But as we are using the complete strength of the material up to the failure point, in the ultimate load method the failure load matches with the experimental results. Failure load will be equal to experimental result, and ultimate strength is taken as a failure criteria. That means at any point of time, if the structure reaches the ultimate load, immediately the structure is going to collapse, and that is the biggest disadvantage of ultimate load method, where in the ultimate load method here it ensures the safety but not serviceability. Serviceability criteria will not satisfy, because throughout the lifespan of the structure, at any point of time, if the load reaches the ultimate load, there will be excessive deflection, there will be excessive cracking, and there will be a failure of the structure. And that is the biggest disadvantage of ultimate load method. And ultimate load method, because of this, ultimate load method is not recommended for any design of structural component. So we cannot recommend the ultimate load method for the design purpose. One more point I need to highlight in the working stress method is, by using working stress method, you can design water retaining structures. Water retaining structures is nothing but that is it may be the tank, it may be the sump, it may be the overhead tank or dams. So these are called as water retaining structure. Even today water retaining structures are designed using working stress method only because in the working stress method the actual strength of material is not used, we are decreasing the strength of material. That means at any point of time, if the load increases, the material can withstand, the material can carry more load which is coming on it, because actually we are considering the strength of material that is very less in the working stress method. So that is the reason why working stress method is used in order to design of water retaining structures even today, right? Okay, so let us move to the third one, and that is limit state method. See, limit state method is the combination of both the philosophies of working stress method and ultimate load method, and also the limit state method will overcome the demerits of working stress method and ultimate load method. See, what was the demerit of working stress method? In the working stress method, we underestimate the strength of material, which leads to the uneconomical design. And in the ultimate load method, we will be using the complete strength of the material up to the failure point, so that the failure load matches with the experimental result, so the serviceability criteria will be not satisfied in the ultimate load method. So in limit state method, these two demerits will be satisfied here. That means in the limit state method, I am going to consider the strength of the material in the elastic zone and the partial strength of the material in the plastic zone. Not complete strength, a partial strength in the plastic zone. Therefore, using the limit state method, if you design any structural component, it ensures safety at ultimate load. Even at the ultimate load, the structure will not collapse. See, using limit state method, it ensures the safety at the working load, and it's also satisfies the serviceability criteria at the working load. That means at any point of time throughout its lifespan, the structural component will not undergo any excessive deflection or any excessive cracking under working load. That is most important. The structure should not get collapsed. The structure should not undergo any excessive deflection or any excessive cracking. That is the most important point, and that point is satisfied in the limit state method. Right? The only reason is here in the limit state method we are not going to underestimate the material. Therefore, in the limit state method we will be getting economical design because we are not underestimating the strength of material. And also in the limit state method we are not using complete strength of the material, therefore serviceability criteria will also satisfy. So that is the reason why limit state method is the best method in order to design the structural components. Using the limit state method, we can ensure the safety and also it satisfies the serviceability criteria. Therefore, limit state method is recommended in the IS code. That means from now onwards, we have to concentrate on only limit state method. We have to understand how to do the analysis, how to do the design, the components by using limit state method. So further from now onwards throughout the subject, we will be only talking about the limit state method. We will be only doing the analysis and design using the limit state method, right? Next. See, in the limit state method, we are going to use a factor, and that factor is called as partial safety factor. Even this is very, very important. See, the factor is called as partial safety because in limit state method, we are using partial material safety factor, and also we are using partially load factor, partial material safety factor and partially load factor. In the limit state method, we are going to decrease the strength of material to some extent, and also we will be increasing the load which is coming on the structure to some extent. That is the reason why this factor is called as partial safety factor. Partially it is considering the material safety factor, partially it is considering the load factor, right? That is the reason why it is called as partial safety factor, and usually it is of 1.5. The Indian Standard Code suggests the factor partially safety factor is 1.5. By using the partial safety factor, by multiplying with characteristic load, finally we will arrive the design load, and this design load is considered for the design purpose. I hope you have understand what is the difference between the working stress method, ultimate load method and limit state method, right? Next. So then limit state method is further classified into two, that is limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. See, the purpose of using the limit state method is, using the limit state method, if you design any structural component using limit state method, that structural component will not fail, will not collapse under the ultimate load. That means the first one is limit state of collapse. Using the limit state method, if you design any structural component, it will not undergo excessive deflection and excessive cracking. That is the serviceability criteria. See, the second one is limit state of serviceability. So these are the two limit state, that is limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. What is the meaning of limit state of collapse? See, design to this limit state ensure that any RC structural component will not collapse under the ultimate load. That is the meaning of limit state of collapse. Second one, limit state of serviceability means design to this limit state ensure that any RC structural component will not undergo excessive deflection, excessive cracking throughout its lifespan under the working load. That is the meaning of serviceability or limit state of serviceability. So if you design any RC structural component using limit state method, it is going to satisfy these two limit states, and that is the most important point, that what we want, right? Next, this limit state of serviceability is further classified into two, that is limit state of deflection, limit state of cracking, and these two limit states should satisfy. That means design to this limit state ensures that any structural component should not undergo excessive deflection under the working load. Limit state, design to this limit state will ensure that any RC structural component will not undergo excessive cracking under the working load. So there will be no excessive deflection, there will be no excessive cracking, and also the structure will not fail at the ultimate load. Therefore, overall we can say the limit state method is the best method in order to design any RC structural component. See, what will happen if there is any excessive deflection or excessive cracking? See, if there is excessive deflection and cracking is there in any RC structural component, obviously it is going to lose its load carrying capacity, right? The effectiveness of that particular RC component will be reduced, right? If there is excessive deflection in the RC structures, it will affect the shape, size and geometry. If there is excessive deflection in any RC structural component, there will be leakage problems, right? See, if there is any excessive cracking in the RC component, then the steel bar inside the RC component will get corroded. And also, due to the excessive cracking, there will be leakage problem, right? So with this, let me conclude this session. That means in the design philosophies, there are three methods. One is working stress method, second one is ultimate load method, the third one is limit state method. In the working stress method, we are going to use the strength of material in the elastic zone. That means we are going to underestimating the strength of material, which leads to the uneconomical design. But the advantage is, because we are decreasing the strength of material by using this factor of safety, we will leads to the safer structure. That means using working stress method, it ensures the safety and also it satisfies the serviceability criteria. The second one was ultimate load method, and in this particular method we utilize the complete strength of the material up to the failure point. So it gives economical design, but the serviceability criteria will fail because the failure load matches with the experimental result. And lastly, that is the limit state method. So in the limit state method, it overcomes the demerits of these two methods. That is the reason why we have to use limit state method in order to design the structural component. And also in the limit state method, we are not using complete strength of the material. We are going to use the strength of material in the elastic zone and partial strength of material in the plastic zone. And also in the limit state method, it ensures the safety at the ultimate load and it also satisfies the service load. So with this, I am going to I'm going to stop this second session. With this, I'm going to stop here. Let us meet in the next session. Thank you.